Fans couldn't believe their eyes when Nicola Coughlan boldly refused to cover up for that explosive Bridgerton scene. Known for her charm and wit, the actress took a fearless stand that left both the cast and viewers stunned. Her decision wasn't just about wardrobe, it was about owning her confidence and breaking old Hollywood taboos. Now, in 2025, Nicola's daring move has everyone talking about body image, empowerment, and the scene that changed Bridgerton forever. When Nicola Coughlan first stepped into the glittering Regency world of Bridgerton, she knew the role of Penelope Featherington would bring both adoration and scrutiny. Yet as Season 3 prepared to unveil a more mature, sensual side of her character, the actress made a bold and unexpected request. She asked to be very naked. Far from being a stunt for shock value or a concession to the show's famously steamy reputation, it was a deliberate act of defiance. Coughlan, who has faced years of online body shaming, wanted to reclaim control of her image and silence critics on her own terms. In interviews, the Derry Girls star explained that she wanted to confront the toxic discourse surrounding her body, which has followed her since the start of her career. Internet trolls and tabloid writers often fixated more on her shape than on her talent, forcing her to develop a thick skin. When Bridgerton's third season began filming, with Penelope finally stepping into the spotlight opposite Luke Newton's Colin Bridgerton, she saw an opportunity to flip the narrative. Rather than being hidden behind carefully chosen costumes or shot angles, she wanted to show confidence and ownership. It wasn't about being sexualized, she clarified. It was about saying, "This is my body, and I'm not ashamed of it." Coughlan's request shocked some within the production, not because Bridgerton was a stranger to intimacy. The show has long been celebrated for its sensual storytelling, but because such vulnerability was coming from the actress herself as a conscious choice. She insisted on portraying Penelope's transformation not merely through words and gowns, but through unapologetic, physical authenticity. In doing so, she challenged a long-standing Hollywood pattern where actresses are either pressured into revealing scenes or strategically shielded from them based on arbitrary beauty standards. The actress described the experience as both empowering and cathartic. "I knew some people would say horrible things no matter what," she said, "so I decided to take that power back. If I was going to be talked about, it would be for my own choices." For Coughlan, the nude scene was not an act of submission to the male gaze. It was a reclamation of self-image. By controlling how her body was presented, she stripped away the shame others tried to impose on her. The response from fans was overwhelmingly supportive. Many praised her courage and saw her decision as a beacon of body positivity in an industry still dominated by narrow ideals. Her co-star Luke Newton and the show's creative team reportedly stood behind her completely, recognizing that her decision carried a deeper social message about self-acceptance and representation. Bridgerton has always been known for blending fantasy with progressiveness, and Coughlan's choice added a new layer, one of real-world empowerment that transcended fiction. Critics also noted how Coughlan's confidence reshaped the tone of Bridgerton's third season. Rather than treating intimacy as scandalous spectacle, her scenes were described as emotionally intimate and refreshingly human. Penelope's vulnerability mirrored Coughlan's own, both women claiming their worth in a society eager to define them. It was a moment of rare authenticity in mainstream television, one where the actress's personal and professional journeys converged. In addition, in one now famous exchange, when asked about her body and how she felt being seen in more revealing scenes, she laughed and said she was proud to be part of the perfect breast community. She followed it up by cheerfully adding, "I hope you enjoyed seeing me." The clip quickly spread across social media, hailed by fans as both savage and empowering. Her delivery carried the same charm that made her on-screen persona so beloved, a mix of intelligence, warmth, and no-nonsense candor. Coughlan's humor wasn't about deflecting discomfort, it was about reclaiming control of the conversation. By joking about her body, she removed its power as a weapon against her. Instead of being the butt of the joke, she became the one telling it, and doing so with impeccable comedic timing. "If I can laugh about it," she once explained, "it means they can't use it to hurt me." Her strategy worked brilliantly. Within days, her interviews were being shared across TikTok and Twitter with captions celebrating her confidence. Fans flooded comment sections calling her a queen of clapbacks, while fellow actors praised her for normalizing body confidence in an industry that still prizes unattainable ideals. Importantly, Coughlan never framed herself as a victim of body shaming. She positioned herself as someone who could confront cruelty with grace and humor, and win. Coughlan's humor also served a deeper purpose. It reinforced that she wasn't ashamed of her decisions in Bridgerton. After boldly requesting that her sex scenes be very naked as an act of self-ownership, she refused to let anyone twist that narrative into something shameful. Her witty quips made it clear that she stood by every creative choice she made, viewing the experience as empowering rather than embarrassing. By blending humor with honesty, she dismantled the double standard that still lingers around women who show their bodies on screen. During one press junket, a journalist tried to frame her steamy scenes as brave, implying that her confidence was unusual for someone of her size. Coughlan smiled sweetly and responded, "Well, it's 2025. I think everyone should be allowed to be sexy." The audience laughed, but the message was clear. She refused to let outdated notions of beauty define her. Her remarks struck a chord far beyond Bridgerton fandom. They became part of a broader cultural conversation about representation, self-image, and women's autonomy in Hollywood. While Nicola Coughlan proudly described her Bridgerton Season 3 intimate scenes as empowering, not everyone in her inner circle shared her enthusiasm. Behind the polished interviews and confident red carpet smiles, there were private moments of discomfort, especially within her family. The actress has openly admitted that her decision to appear in revealing, sensual scenes sparked tension at home, particularly with her mother, who struggled to reconcile Nicola's creative freedom with the vulnerability of seeing her daughter exposed on screen. Coughlan, known for her candor, didn't hide that the reactions were mixed. In public, she spoke passionately about how taking ownership of her body and her performance felt liberating, a way to reclaim control from years of scrutiny. But in interviews, she also confessed that her family's reaction was complicated. "My mom wasn't thrilled about it," she said with characteristic honesty. "She's proud of me, of course, but I think no parent really wants to see their child in that kind of scene, no matter how artistic or meaningful it is." That admission resonated deeply with fans. It humanized Coughlan, reminding people that even as she made headlines for championing body positivity and autonomy, she still had to navigate the emotional reality of family relationships. For her mother, the scenes weren't a statement of empowerment or artistic expression. They were simply difficult to watch. Growing up in a traditional Irish household, Nicola's family wasn't used to such explicit portrayals of intimacy. To them, the idea of their daughter undressing on a global Netflix series felt less like creative liberation and more like something to shield their eyes from. Nicola's response to this private tension was one of empathy rather than defensiveness. She understood her mother's reaction, even if she didn't agree with it. "I think it's natural," she reflected. "We come from different generations." For me, this was about control and storytelling. For her, it's about protection. She just wants me to be safe and respected. This sense of understanding underscored how complex it can be for public figures to balance personal conviction with familial expectations. The experience highlighted the contrast between public empowerment and private vulnerability. While Nicola confidently told the press that her decision to be very naked was deliberate and empowering, a response to years of body shaming, she also admitted that sharing that side of herself with the world came with emotional consequences. It's one thing to defy critics online. It's another to sit beside your mother, knowing she's uncomfortable with what you've done in the name of artistic freedom. Another notable detail, when Nicola Coughlan agreed to film the most intimate scenes of Bridgerton Season 3, she made it clear that she would only do so under one condition. Everything had to be handled with professionalism, safety, and respect. Although she famously requested that her character be portrayed as very naked, the decision was never about shock value or spectacle. It was instead the product of meticulous collaboration with the creative team, a process that combines artistic freedom with carefully designed boundaries. From the start, Coughlan insists that every step be guided by trust and consent, transforming what could have been an uncomfortable experience into an empowering one. The production followed modern best practices for filming intimacy, including the involvement of an intimacy coordinator, a now essential role in Hollywood since the Me Too movement reshaped how sensitive scenes are created. Coughlan worked closely with this professional, as well as with showrunner Jess Brownell, director Trisha Brock, and co-star Luke Newton, to choreograph every detail. Far from being spontaneous, each scene was carefully mapped out, every touch, kiss, and camera angle discussed beforehand. The goal was to make sure both actors felt completely safe, respected, and comfortable in their performances. Coughlan has repeatedly praised this structure, crediting it with giving her the confidence to go further creatively. It was never chaotic or exploitative, she explained in interviews. We had a framework that made everything feel safe, controlled, and even fun. It was about storytelling, not exposure for exposure's sake. That professional environment allowed her to step fully into Penelope Featherington's emotional arc, the moment when the shy wallflower finally embraces love and desire on her own terms. Without that trust, she admitted, such vulnerability would have been impossible. The Bridgerton team's approach reflected a broader industry shift toward treating intimacy scenes with the same respect as any other form of choreography. Coughlan likened it to staging a dance, precise, rehearsed, and rooted in collaboration. Nothing was improvised, she said. Every movement was talked through with Luke, the director, and our intimacy coordinator. That's what made it empowering. We knew exactly what was happening, and we agreed to every moment. Coughlan also pointed out how vital emotional safety was to the process. Between takes, she and Newton were encouraged to speak openly about what felt comfortable, and crew members were kept to a minimum during shooting. Wardrobe departments ensured modesty garments and coverage options were available at all times, and every frame of the scene was reviewed for sensitivity. You could tell the whole team respected the significance of it, Coughlan said. They understood this wasn't just another sexy scene. It was a key moment of character evolution. For Nicola, that professionalism turned what could have been a nerve-wracking ordeal into a creative triumph. She felt free to express vulnerability, not fear. The safety protocols didn't stifle spontaneity. They enabled it, because everyone involved could act without anxiety. The actress later reflected that this sense of collaboration was a major reason she described the entire experience as empowering. Having agency meant she could contribute creatively while still knowing her boundaries were honored. In the past, actors, especially women, were often pressured into revealing scenes without adequate preparation or consent. Coughlan's experience represents how far the industry has come. Her decision to be more exposed wasn't reckless. It was a calculated artistic choice made within a strong support system. That's what distinguished it from the sensationalism often attached to nude scenes. What do you think about Nicola Coughlan's bold decision? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.